Hello Booktube Worlders. I, Capri Nicole, and I am back with another video. So today, I am doing the worst books that I read of 2018. And surprisingly, I didn't have that many. I had a lot of books that I anticipated and they let me down, but they weren't the worst. They just weren't what I expected. The amount of books that I read that I absolutely hated were 6 books. So I'm pretty shocked because I felt like I was aggravated more with some of the books that I read this year. I guess out of all of the books that I read this year, only 6 of them really aggravated me. So that's really good. But let's get into these books, shall we? So the first book that I have on my list, I do not have a physical copy of, but I listened to on audiobook, and it was From Twinkle with Love by Santaya Menon. I think that's how you say her name. But yeah, this book, oh my god, it aggravated the shit out of me. So let's just talk about the summary of this book. From Twinkle with Love follows Twinkle, who is the main character, who is very much into directing films. She's very headstrong and passionate about this. So this is kind of like her hobby and later will be her career. And she's also in high school. She's kind of like the girl that doesn't fit in, you know, she's not like every other girl type thing. So already off the bat, I'm just like, alright. But she's just one of those girls that really just don't fit in. She's dealing with difficulties becoming a young adult, losing friends, not being popular. Throughout this book, it kind of follows her writing letters to other female directors, and that's pretty much how you follow her point of view throughout the story. And there's also a love interest, and his name is Sahil. So initially, Sahil has a twin brother who she's pretty much in love with, but then she ends up working with Sahil and a spark connects them and they end up falling for each other in a way. But she has this whole plot behind the scenes that has to do with his twin brother, who pays her no mind you. But that is the synopsis of this book in a nutshell. So let's get into why I did not like this book. Initially, I grabbed this book because I listened to When Dimple Met Rishi on audiobook, and I really loved that story. I really enjoyed it. So I felt like I wanted to read all the books by this author. So I got into this book, and I saw that it had a lower rating, but I was just like, you know, give every book a chance. And just because something has a lower rating doesn't mean that it's a bad book for you. So I go into this book thinking that I'll enjoy it. I really like the way that the author has these main characters that are females, and they're really passionate about their career and really passionate about something. Like, I enjoy that aspect, and I enjoy how misogyny is always attacked as a topic in little pockets of her books. I really like that she attacks topics like that, and she really goes against gender bias, and she has a lot of diversity in her books as well. But there are a few things that I had problems with in this book. Number one, my big issue was I was not connecting with Twinkle, who was the main character. She aggravated the shit out of me. Her voice, I don't even know. Maybe it was because it was the audiobook, but just everything about her I did not like. And I just couldn't connect with her as a main character. So that was a thing. I also did not like the fact that she was plotting. I don't want to give away, you know, I don't want to spoil it for anyone in case you actually want to read this. She was plotting on making her way into popularity in a way that was harmful to her love interest. And she carried on this plan throughout the entire book. And that in itself is a problem for me. That aggravated me. So I thought she was really vicious. I thought that she was doing things that were harmful to other characters, and she did not think about it. She was selfish. She was really sporadic with her emotions. It was just like crazy sometimes. I thought she was a little bit over the top, a little bit too much. It just was weird for me. I just wasn't connecting with her. I did not like the plot. I did not like her. I just wanted Sahil to be with someone else. That was my main issue. I didn't like her. Like, if she wasn't in the book, I feel like maybe it would have been better, but that's what made it so aggravating for me. I really almost DNF'd this audiobook, but I'm so set on finishing things that I just like stuck it through. So yeah, it was just not a good experience for me. I gave it 2 stars, so that says enough about how I felt about that. Let's get into the next book. So the next book that I have on my list for worst reads of 2018 was Leave Your Mark by Eliza Litch. So this book I read during Booktubeathon, and I was so excited during that time. Like, I loved all the books except this one. This one really just was not for me. So let's talk about the summary of this here book. So right all over the cover, right off the back, okay, they're telling us land your dream job, kill it in your career, rock social media. So you know that this book is going to be a business book. It's supposed to give you business advice. It's supposed to help you understand what Eliza Litch went through in her professional career to give you a better idea of what to do in corporate America to be successful. So I get this book because I love business books. I like business books that really dive into the writer or the business person's mind and their experience and their hardships and just everything they went through and how they became successful. So I kind of like autobiography type business books, but that aren't too businessy. So when I saw this book, I really thought that I would love it. I thought that it would give me insights. It would just like help me understand how to be a businesswoman, how to grow and learn and mature, and that is 100% not what happened. So let's get into why I did not like this book. So this book for me did not get into any depths of the business world. So she's an executive in big fashion brands. She has a lot of insight on fashion related workplaces, and that is 100% what this book was about. If this book was titled different, then I wouldn't have a problem with it, because if it said like learn about fashion, learn how to kill it in your fashion career, learn how to get through a fashion workplace, then I will be like, okay, well that's not for me. But for this book to pitch to me that it's going to help you with social media, help me with business, help me with understanding how to work in corporate America and kill it online, and it just was a no for me, because it wasn't anything in here that was broken down. There wasn't any lists. There weren't any examples of how to be successful on social media or how to be successful in, you know, the technology world or anything like that. Like, this pitches to you like it's going to be a social media type book, and it's not. It's like high-esque on fashion and high-esque on the fashion world. So when she went to the fashion world, it was very much so every man for himself. Like, you know, in the fashion world, a lot of women do not like to give each other a hand up. I feel like today in this generation, people are being more open arms to seeing other people be successful because they want to help each other. You want to see people like you in your workplace. You want to help other women be introduced into your workplace. So I feel like in this generation, people are more open to the idea of helping each other. But when she went into the industry, it was not like that. She had to fight tooth and nail to get where she had to be, and it was rough for her, which is understandable. But my issue is that isn't what this book is telling me it's going to be talking about. She didn't really get into any depths about being a woman in the workplace. She kind of just talked about resumes and cover letters and really basic things. I feel like if you were an 18-year-old going into a fashion industry, this book will be 100% for you. But it doesn't tell, you don't get that vibe from the synopsis or from the title. So going into this, I was not expecting to be talked to like I was a 18-year-old, because I'm 26. I know about resumes, I know about cover letters. I've been working my entire life, so I know about jobs. So I don't need that type of advice. That's not what I was looking for. And I feel like if it was titled different and more honest about the fact that this is about her fashion experience in the fashion world, then it wouldn't be so bad, because you can get something from it if you're going into fashion. But I just feel like there wasn't enough information about business or social media as it depicts on the cover. Okay, so let's get into the next worst read of 2018. So the next book that I have on my list is The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. Now, this one I also did not have a physical copy of. I listened to an audiobook. I saw mixed reviews about this one, so I kind of went into this one not expecting the best. And with Holly Black's writing style and her books in general, I can't always connect with her characters or her storyline or anything about her books. Like, it's like hit or miss for me with Holly Black, and I haven't had an experience with any of her books where I'm just like, yes, this is amazing, except the last like 150 pages of The Cruel Prince. The other pages I just could have thrown them away. But for the most part, I don't really connect that well with her writing and her book, so I wasn't going into it expecting it was going to be amazing. But oh my god, I was not feeling this book at all, like at all. So this book follows the main character, Tana, who lives in a very modernized town. She lives in contemporary world, you know, regular city life. and there are vampires that live among them, but when they're found out or when you become a vampire, you're sent to a cold town, and that's a pretty much a selected area where all of the vampires live and are banned from coming back into civilization. And once you go there, you can never go back. So even if you're not a vampire and you go over there, you are staying there forever, unless you get like a pass or something, then you can come back, which is crazy. But there's that. There's also TV shows that follow the people that are in the cold town. So the people that are in civilization actually get to see what it's like to be in a cold town. So that's why some people idolize it and they go there thinking that's going to be one thing and it ends up not being that thing. So I don't know. I kind of like when books interlude like fantasy and like fantasy and modern life. Like I like that, like, because it makes me feel like it could be a part of like our everyday lives. I think it's pretty cool. That's like the only thing that I liked about this book, was the fact that there was modernization in there, like iPhones and computers and YouTube and bloggers and stuff like that. But oh my god, the main character, oh my god, everything she did just was a no. Like it was like every situation that could go terribly wrong and was already going wrong, she would go into head first without any doubt that nothing would go wrong. Like she had no caution. She literally was just doing anything that was dangerous without any thought, and she was very gullible. And just right off the bat, as soon as the opening scene is her literally waking up in a party full of people that she grew up with in elementary school, all around her dead. She wakes up from a party, everybody in the house is dead. So what would you do? I would run. I would go home. I would not be trying to look around. I'm not trying to see what's going on. None of that. What does she do? She walks around the house. She finds her ex-boyfriend who's tied up looking crazy, and she don't even like him anyway, and it's clearly already been bitten by a vampire. And she also finds another vampire in the room. And what does she do? She loads them up into her car and they go hitchhiking onto the cold town. Like, it just did. That was opening scene. So for me, it was very confusing because I was like, so she's bringing the danger with her? Just why? Why are we bringing the danger with us? Like, clearly your ex is literally about to change into a vampire. You got a vampire over there. You don't know if he's the one that bit him or he's good or bad or whatever. And you decide to go on a road trip with them. Another thing I did not like with this book was the fact that, okay, aside from the main character aggravating the hell out of me and being gullible and crazy and stupid, the audiobook voiceover for the vampire was so damn sexualized, and it was so over the top and so husky and whispery, and like it was just like someone trying to be a vampire, someone trying to depict the voice of a vampire. It was the most annoying shit ever, and every time it was time for him to talk, I just wanted to skip, but I didn't want to miss anything important, so I had to like suffer through the voiceover, and I was just over it. Like, I literally just wanted to be done with the book. I was done with the damn vampire up in the book. I was done with the main character, so that's already 2 people crossed off the list. And then on top of that, you have her ex-boyfriend who is tagging along for this journey, who is so damn toxic. He is so problematic. He is literally the worst character ever, and he's so toxic. Like, even when they do backflashes of their relationship and things that they've gone through when they were together, he literally would do things to try to get a rise out of her, try to do something to piss her off or something to hurt her. And it's like, for what? What is wrong with you that you feel like you need to hurt other people for no apparent reason? And they would say, oh, we're playing a game to see this, and we're playing a game to see that. And I'm just like, how is it a game? It's not a game if no one wins. It's not a game if it's not fun. Like, this is not a game. Like, you're hurting each other in the relationship. I'm just like, why doesn't he die? Like, I honestly was just not enjoying the audiobook. I was not enjoying the characters. It just was not for me. Okay, so the next book that I have for worst reads of 2018 was Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. This book follows Theodosia, who is the main character, and her city was sacked by another castle, and they pretty much killed everyone, all of her family, all of the royalty, and they overtook those lands. But they kept her. and they've pretty much kept her in good grace. Like she's not like she's a slave, but she dresses well, she eats well, she has friends, she does stuff, but she's treated poorly. And every time there's a big event, they make her wear this crown that has ash that falls onto her dress. It reminds her of the fact that they overthrew her. So it was just like a constant banter of, this is what we did, we've taken over your castle, you're just an ash princess. So they would do things like that to make her feel powerless. I really like the premise of the synopsis of this book, and I really was rooting for this because I felt like it, just the summary of it, I felt like it could have went really, really well if it was well executed, which it was not. So, and I was just hoping for a strong main character, and she was so damn weak. I was just like, what is going on? I don't want to make this into a rant video, but it's kind of hard not to when you're talking about your worst read. So for me, she was just like weak. My main issue with this book was the fact that the main character did not have any character development. She literally didn't get stronger. She didn't get smarter. She didn't do anything that like rivaled her people. She didn't do anything to give them justice. Like, I just felt like people showed up wanting something from her and she did not deliver. She didn't try to deliver. They gave her plans. She didn't try to follow those plans. It was a love interest in here that was insta-lovey. There's a little bit of a love triangle going on, which I'm kind of here for, but the other person in the love triangle is the prince, and I felt like their connection was very insta-lovey. Like, there was no buildup of it. He just showed up and they started talking, and then they fell in love and they were on a boat somewhere, and I was just like, okay, so we're gonna skip the slow burn, we're just gonna go straight into it. Okay. I just didn't like the main character. It seems like all the books that I didn't like was because of the main character. It's hard not to not like a book if the main character is trash. So I was expecting, you know, a kick-ass, you know, main character princess who's ready to give her people the revenge they deserved after their shit got burned to the ground, and she's living on the same lands that she grew up in and experienced the death of all her people. So I'm waiting for her to get that fire behind her, and it never happened. Like, it never happened. It just annoyed me that she didn't have a plan. She didn't follow any plan. She put other people in danger with the plans that were given to her. It was just no. It could have been an okay book, but it was just the way it was executed. It was the way it was executed. It was so bad. I just couldn't take it anymore. But her best friend, I actually am here for. Like, I kind of want to know more about her. I feel like she's going to turn into a villain. So I kind of want to read the next book just to see if it gets better and not completely write off this author, because I think this is her debut novel. So I don't want to just shit on her first book and not give her second book a chance. But I don't know. We'll see. So the next book that I have on my worst reads of 2018 was Ship It by Britta London. So, oh man, oh my god. So this book follows the main character who is a big fangirl of a TV show, and it has these two main characters who are like best friends fighting crime against demons or something like that. And they're male characters, and everyone ships them. And she is a fanfic writer online, and she's really big online. So she's really into the show, she's really into the characters, and she goes to one of their panels and she asks them questions hinting at the idea of them being in a possible relationship. And the person that's acting as one of those characters in the show completely writes her off and says things that cause an uprise in the media world, and people start flipping the hell out. So they invite her onto their tour, and they invite her to be a part of the panel so that maybe they can just like brush under the rug that whole issue there and try to fix up the PR issues that are going on. So they bring her on to try to help with that before it spreads into social media and everybody just completely stops watching the show. It follows the main character, and her name is Claire. So she's the fangirl fanfic author who is now a part of their tour. So let's talk about this book. So this, oh my god, I honestly think this book is #1 on me wanting to set it on fire. Like, it aggravated me so much. Oh my god, I wanted to like this book so bad because I'm like, oh, maybe we can relate. Like, you know, I'm a fangirl too. Like, you know, when you ship something hard, you ship it hard. But she was shipping it to the point where it was affecting people's livelihoods. Like, these people are actors. These people, this is their career, this is their life, and she was doing things that were so problematic and so hazardous to someone's career and someone's income and someone's life and someone's everything. Just it was just too much. She was way too invasive. She didn't respect their privacy. She didn't respect anything they said. She was so crazy. People like to look at people that are fans and feel like they're crazy or they're over the top or whatever. She really was over the top, and I felt like she took it to a certain extent where it couldn't be brought back. Like, she was just doing too much. And then the love interest in here also made things confusing because I feel like she didn't know what to do with her, and it was just so many problems. I had so many problems with this book, and I attempted to read this during a 24-hour readathon, and I struggled so hard with this book because I started hating the main character for the things that she was doing, because it was just not okay. Like, if I was putting myself in the actor's shoes, and I'm just like, she is not respecting anything they're saying at all. Like, she was just doing too much. She was putting herself in danger. She was disrespecting the other people, the actors that were in this book. It was just not okay. Like, at the end of the day, I get her basis behind what she was doing. She wanted them to understand that it's important to have people on TV that you can relate to, people that are gay, bisexual, different races. That's important, but you can't force that. You can't blackmail people and just do things that she was doing. You can't do that. So that was my issue with this book. Another main character that killed it for me. It could have been a good book, but it's a no. It's a no for me. And my final worst book for 2018 is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertelli. Now, this book really aggravated the hell out of me. Like, I was excited to read this book because it was the next book following Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. And this book follows the main character, Leah, who is Simon's best friend, and it's pretty much just her experience in high school and preparing to become a young adult, going to college, understanding her sexuality, being comfortable in everything and anything that she is, just pretty much just picking through being a young adult. So this book, it made me feel like everything that happened in Simon Versus just wasn't true. Like, I felt like this wasn't even the same character. I was so confused on, am I remembering the book right? Like, I was just like, I wanted to go back and look at Simon's book to see if I'm remembering everything correctly, because things that she was doing in this book did not make sense to things that she was doing in Simon's book. It just didn't match up for me. Sometimes I was rooting for her because I felt like she was confident in her body. She, she is a juicy girl, so I don't like saying fat girl, but she was a juicy girl, so she was really comfortable in her body. She was really strong with that. But I just felt like she had the shittiest attitude. She was so rude to people, and she just was nasty. Like, her mother's boyfriend, she was mean to him because he was nice to her, and she had a problem with that. And there was an issue with her and her friends, and she was really upset about that, rightfully so, because the situation was not okay. But it's like, girl, come on, you can't start terrorizing everyone because of that one situation, that one falling out with one friend. Doesn't mean you need to treat all of your other friends like ass. So I thought she was just mean, and sometimes she just was way off the bat. Like, she needed to figure out her emotions, her hormones, whatever the hell was going on. Something wasn't right. She needed to figure that out. That was an issue for me. I also did not like the fact that she had a love interest in here, that there was no hinting at that love interest in the first book. Like, in the first book, she didn't even like this person. Okay? There was no hinting at them being together. There was no hinting for me. And Becky Albertelli was saying initially that she wrote this book specifically for fans that saw something that she didn't. So clearly in the first book, she was not anticipating this love interest happening, but because all of the fans were anticipating and hoping for it, she made it happen. But you can't make it happen if it wasn't even a possibility to begin with. That was my issue with that. I was just like, where the hell is this coming from? And the way that the entire love interest even sprouted, I felt like that in itself was not okay. Like, There was someone that was extremely hurt. They weren't helped. They weren't, not just, it was the worst. I just did not like where the love interest came from. I did not like the love interest, period. And that's where the whole book was going. So I was struggling hard. And then there was also Garrett, who was interested in her, and she just string his ass along the whole time, making him think that something was gonna happen, and it did not. So that was the issue for me, because I was just like, why is she stringing him along? And then on top of that, kind of being mean to him at the same time. Like, if you don't like someone, just tell them. Why string them along and have them hoping for something to happen all the while you're interested in someone else? I did not like that. I did not like the way the ending wrapped up. That was an issue for me, because it was just like, all this stuff happened, and then it was like, oh hey, we're all in college, where everything's great, everything's so wonderful, everybody's paired up and in a relationship, and everything works great now. And that is not okay. Like, there was so many. It's a no. It's a damn no. It's a no. Like, I have to get this off of my shelf as soon as possible, because every time I look at this book, I'm just like, no. And then the people were raving about this book, and I was just like, I don't get it. It's so many problems in this book. Like, can anyone relate? Anyone? Like, ugh. But if you want to see me fully rant with gifts included, I will leave my Goodreads review in the description box below, so you can look at that. But I don't want to get into a full-blown rant about this book, but it was just a no for me. And I was so upset because I was anticipating this book. So that was pretty terrible. But alright guys, so that is all the books that I have for worst reads of 2018. Hopefully this wasn't too much of a rant video or too long. But sometimes when I start talking about books that I do not like, the conversation just never ends. But yeah, I'm surprised there was only 6. I'm really surprised. But I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know what books you read that you did not enjoy, or if any of these books you read and you also did not like them, so we could talk about how much you hated them. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Always remember, read a book, keep your life interesting, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.